Welcome to my speech today. I want to talk about something deep, something personal. It's about how to recognize when God is helping you, even when you don't realize it. Because let's be honest, life gets messy, confusing, hard, and sometimes we wonder, is God even listening? But I'm here to tell you He is. And if you open your eyes, you'll see the signs. Let's dive in. 1, you have peace when it doesn't make sense. Everything around you is falling apart. Bills are stacking up. People are walking away. But somehow, you're calm. That's not you. That's God. Peace in the middle of a storm is one of His greatest signs. 2 doors. Start opening without you forcing them. When God is helping you, you don't have to kick doors open. You don't have to manipulate. Suddenly, the right opportunity finds you. You realize what you once chased now chases you. 3, strength. You didn't know you had. You're tired. You're drained. But somehow you keep going. You rise again after every fall. That resilience isn't human. That's divine power living inside of you. 4, the right people show up. Have you ever met someone and instantly felt this person is here for a reason? That's not coincidence. That's coordination from above. God uses people to lift you when you can't lift yourself. 5, closed doors that later make sense. You cried over it, you begged for it, and He said no. Later you realized that no was your protection. Some things you thought you wanted were actually distractions. 6, you feel a shift inside. Before the blessing comes, God prepares you. You'll start craving different things. You'll want better for yourself. You'll walk away from what no longer serves you, and it won't even hurt. That's God aligning you with your purpose. 7 little miracles happen daily. The small things. That check arriving just in time. That random call from someone offering help. That moment you almost gave up but didn't. God's help shows up in the details, in the quiet moments, in the everyday mercies we often overlook. Sometimes the journey you are walking feels so isolated that you begin to wonder if anyone truly sees you. You move through seasons where the support you crave is nowhere to be found, where you feel like you are climbing a mountain with no one by your side. But then something begins to shift. People start entering your life in ways you could have never orchestrated yourself. Not just any people, the right people. People who speak into your purpose. People who open doors you didn't even know existed. People who believe in you before you believe in yourself. These are not random encounters. These are strategic connections placed in your path by a hand far greater than your own. When God is helping you, He brings the right relationships at the right time. It might be a mentor who sees your potential and challenges you to rise higher. It might be a friend who shows up exactly when you are about to give up. It might be a business partner, a teacher, a leader, or even a stranger who says one sentence that changes your whole direction. These connections are not forced. You don't have to manipulate your way into them. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not to earn them. They find you because they were assigned to you. They align with your journey because they are part of your destiny. There is something powerful about realizing you were never meant to walk the path alone. Strategic connections remind you that even though the vision was given to you, the journey requires a team. It requires voices of wisdom. It requires shoulders to lean on. It requires hands to lift you when you fall. And God knows exactly who you need even before you know you need them. Sometimes He removes the wrong people first, which feels like loss, but is actually preparation. Because if the wrong people stay, they will block the ones who are meant to build with you, grow with you, and fight for you. You'll notice that when these connections happen, there's an ease to it. You won't have to beg for attention. You won't have to constantly explain your heart. These are people who understand you at a deeper level, who recognize your assignment without you having to perform. It's not about surface level relationships, it's about divine alignments. These connections carry a sense of purpose. You grow when you're around them. You feel pushed toward your calling, not pulled away from it. You see parts of yourself you didn't know existed because they challenge you, stretch you, and support you in ways that feel supernatural. Strategic connections are often mirrors of God's favor. When you were praying for opportunities, He sent you people. When you were asking for strength, He sent you encouragement through another soul. And sometimes the answer to your prayer isn't a thing, it's a person whose presence shifts your atmosphere. They may come in unexpected packages. They may not look like what you imagined, but when you meet them, something in your spirit knows this is not ordinary. This is appointment, not accident. As you move forward, you begin to see that every major shift in your life came after a connection. Every breakthrough was tied to a relationship, a conversation, a meeting that you couldn't have scripted if you tried. And as you trust the process, you realize that part of God's help isn't just the strength He gives inside of you, it's also the people He places around you, people who cover you in prayer, people who open doors you thought were closed, people who believe in the dream you're carrying when you're too tired to believe in it yourself. Strategic connections are one of the clearest signs that you are not walking alone, that heaven is orchestrating relationships that your heart didn't even know it needed. Sometimes in life we grind and hustle, trying to force things to happen. We chase opportunities, we knock on doors, we wear ourselves out trying to make our dreams come true, and still the doors stay closed. No matter how hard we push, it feels like we're running into a wall. The frustration builds, doubt creeps in. We start questioning if we're even on the right path. But then there are moments rare and beautiful when a door swings open without us having to fight for it. It happens so naturally, so easily, that you almost hesitate, wondering if it's real. That's not coincidence. That's not luck. That's a sign that God is moving on your behalf. When God is helping you, you don't have to force your way into places that aren't meant for you. You don't have to beg for opportunities, manipulate situations, or compromise who you are to get ahead. Instead, doors open because they were designed to open for you. You walk into rooms you didn't even know existed. People start mentioning your name in places you've never set foot in. What you were chasing begins to chase you. And it's not because you stopped working hard, it's because you stopped trying to control the timing and the method. You trusted, and God honored that trust by making a way you couldn't have made on your own. There's a difference between persistence and forcing. Persistence means staying ready, staying faithful, doing your part. Forcing means trying to make something happen outside of God's timing, out of fear or desperation. When you operate out of fear, you're constantly anxious, exhausted, and disappointed. When you operate with faith, you work, but you don't worship the work. You stay open to the idea that if something isn't happening yet, it's either not the right door or it's not the right time. That trust allows you to move differently. You stop striving so hard. You start flowing. One of the clearest signs that God is helping you is when things begin to align without manipulation. You meet the right person without scheming. You get the job offer without having to step over others. You find yourself in the right place at the right time without even realizing how it all came together. And looking back, you'll see that every closed door, every delay, every no that hurt you was actually pushing you toward this open door that fits you perfectly. God's timing is not just about waiting, it's about preparing you for what you're about to walk into. Because the truth is, some doors that you wanted would have crushed you if you had entered too soon. Some opportunities you cried over missing would have been burdens, not blessings. You're not second-guessing your worth. You're not constantly battling insecurity. You're not trying to prove that you deserve to be there. You walk through with confidence, not arrogance, because deep down you know this wasn't just your doing, this was orchestrated. This was divinely set up, and it humbles you. It reminds you that you are favored, that you are seen, and that you are being guided by a hand bigger than yours. There's a beauty in trusting that what's meant for you won't have to be stolen, forced, or fought over. God doesn't bless you with something only for you to have to constantly battle to keep it. When he opens a door, he also gives you the strength, wisdom, and grace to walk through it and thrive. You begin to see that his plans are bigger than your plans. His ways are higher than your ways. What he has for you is not fragile. It won't be taken away by one mistake or one misstep. It's secured, it's sealed. And when you experience that, when you truly feel what it's like to walk through a door that he opened, you stop wasting your energy chasing what isn't yours. You start focusing on becoming who you were meant to be, trusting that the right doors will open, not by your force, but by his favor. When life throws storms our way, the natural human reaction is to panic. We get overwhelmed, anxious, and stressed out. Our minds race with worst-case scenarios, and our hearts become heavy with fear. Everything in us screams for control, for solutions, for a way to fix what feels broken. But sometimes, right in the middle of all that chaos, a strange thing happens. A peace settles over you, quiet and steady. It's not because the problems disappeared. It's not because you found the perfect answer. It's not because everything suddenly made sense. It's because something deeper, something stronger than the chaos has taken root inside you. That kind of peace doesn't come from human strength. It doesn't come from denial or ignorance. It comes from a source greater than yourself. It's God's way of whispering, I'm here, I'm handling what you can. This peace doesn't erase the pain immediately. It doesn't magically solve every challenge. Instead, it acts like an anchor. No matter how hard the wind blows, no matter how big the waves get, you stay grounded. You're aware of the chaos, you're not blind to it, but it doesn't shake you the way it should. You find yourself breathing deeply when you should be gasping. You find yourself smiling when the world expects you to break down. You keep walking when others would have collapsed. And the crazy thing is, sometimes you don't even realize how unusual it is until you look back. You think, I should have lost my mind, I should have given up, but somehow I didn't. This unexpected peace is a clear sign that God is helping you, even if you can't see him moving yet. It's a supernatural reminder that your situation isn't in your hands alone. It's not that your problems aren't real, they are. It's that God's presence becomes more real than the problems. You feel held, you feel carried. Even though logically you know everything around you is shaking, there's a deeper truth in your spirit that says, I'm going to be okay. And that's not something you can fake. You can try to be strong for a while, but fake strength eventually cracks under real pressure. Divine peace doesn't crack. It holds. It lasts. It shows up when you have no more strength left to pretend. Often this peace comes after a moment of surrender. You reach a point where you realize you can't fight the storm on your own anymore. You let go. You stop striving. You stop controlling. And in that surrender, in that moment of admitting your weakness, God steps in with his strength. His peace isn't just a feeling, it's a shield. It guards your heart and your mind. It keeps you from making desperate decisions. It keeps you from drowning in your fears. It gives you clarity when confusion tries to take over. And maybe the problems don't vanish immediately. Maybe you still have battles to face. But now, you're not facing them frantic. You're facing them rooted, calm, confident. Not because you have all the answers, but because you know who holds the answers. This peace can be subtle at times. It's not always loud and dramatic. Sometimes it's just a quiet assurance that whispers, hold on, trust me. Sometimes it's waking up without the heavy weight of anxiety that usually greets you. Sometimes it's the ability to laugh, even when nothing in your circumstances has changed. That's the miracle. Peace without reason. Calm without explanation. And the more you experience it, the more you realize that God's presence is not always about changing what's around you. Sometimes it's about changing what's within you first. He strengthens your spirit before he shifts your situation. He anchors your soul before he calms the storm. There are seasons in life when everything should break you, seasons when the weight you carry is too much for one heart, too much for one mind to bear. You look around and realize the odds are against you. The road ahead is overwhelming, and you are out of answers, out of options, out of strength. By every human measurement, you should have collapsed by now. You should have quit. You should have surrendered to the heaviness. But somehow you're still standing. Somehow you keep showing up. Somehow there's a fire inside you that refuses to go out, even though the storms keep raging. That is not your own strength. That is God giving you what you need when you have nothing left to give. Unexplainable strength is not loud. It's not always visible to the people around you. Sometimes it's just the quiet courage to get out of bed when your heart feels shattered. Sometimes it's the small, stubborn hope that clings to you, even when everything looks hopeless. It's when you wipe your tears and keep going, even though you don't feel strong at all. That's the mystery of it. It's not that you feel powerful. It's that you are empowered by something greater than yourself. Strength you can't explain, strength you didn't earn, strength you didn't manufacture. It shows up when you need it most, and it's proof that you're not carrying your burdens alone. There will be moments when you look back on your own journey and ask yourself, how did I survive that? You'll realize it wasn't your talent, it wasn't your intelligence, it wasn't your toughness. It was divine strength holding you together when you were falling apart. And often, you don't recognize it while you're in it. You feel exhausted. You feel stretched thin. You feel like you're barely hanging on, but somehow you keep moving. Somehow your spirit refuses to die. And after the storm passes, after the dust settles, you see clearly what you couldn't see in the middle of the fight. God was your strength all along. This kind of strength also teaches you who you really are. You find a version of yourself that's deeper, wiser, and more resilient than you ever imagined. You realize that pain doesn't define you. Loss doesn't defeat you. Fear doesn't own you. You realize that the things meant to destroy you actually revealed a hidden power inside you, a strength that came from trusting in something bigger than the situation, bigger than the suffering. It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about having a core that remains unshaken even when everything around you is broken. Unexplainable strength also shows up in ways you never expected. It's the ability to forgive when bitterness feels easier. It's the choice to love when hate seems justified. It's the decision to keep dreaming when disappointment tried to harden your heart. It's not just survival. It's a quiet, relentless, beautiful refusal to let the darkness win. And you know it's not from you alone because you've seen your own limits. You know what it feels like to be empty, to be weak, to be done. Yet something inside you rises again, stronger than the fear, stronger than the pain, stronger than the pressure. This strength reminds you that you are never abandoned, even in your lowest moments. God doesn't just watch from a distance while you struggle. He steps into your weakness. He fills the broken places with his own power. He carries you when you cannot carry yourself. And the amazing part is, even when you don't feel strong, even when you feel like a mess, even when you're crying out for help, you are stronger than you realize, not because of your ability, but because of his presence. It's his strength that sustains you, his grace that lifts you, his love that fuels you. And no matter what comes against you, no matter how impossible the battle looks, that unexplainable strength will not let you be defeated. There are so many battles you never saw, so many dangers that tried to come against you but didn't reach you, so many traps that were set along your path but never caught you. When God is helping you, his protection isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's the closed doors you cried about that were actually saving you. Sometimes it's the relationship that ended, the opportunity that fell through, the unexpected detour that frustrated you in the moment, but shielded you from something you didn't even realize was waiting ahead. His protection is woven into the very fabric of your life, seen and unseen, constant and powerful. There are moments when you look back and realize how close you were to disaster, how one decision could have wrecked everything, how one wrong step could have led you into places you might not have come back from. but somehow something stopped you. Somehow something shifted you away. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was God stepping in. That was His mercy standing between you and what was meant to destroy you. You didn't have the foresight to see the danger, but He did. You didn't have the strength to fight every unseen enemy, but He fought for you. Protection from harm doesn't always feel like protection in the moment. Sometimes it feels like rejection. Sometimes it feels like failure. Sometimes it feels like unanswered prayers. You wonder why things didn't work out, why doors slammed shut, why certain paths became impossible to walk. But over time, you begin to understand that every delay was actually divine defense. Every no was a covering. Every disappointment was a redirection away from harm you were never supposed to endure. God's protection often disguises itself as confusion until time reveals it was care. You don't see the accidents you missed because you were running late that day. You don't see the betrayal you avoided because a friendship ended before you knew their true intentions. You don't see the financial ruin you escaped because the deal you wanted so badly never happened. You don't see the emotional scars you were spared because the wrong relationship never moved forward. All you know is that somehow, some way, you are still here, still standing, still preserved. And deep down you realize it wasn't because you were smart enough, careful enough, or strong enough. It was because you were protected. God's protection also shows up in the battles you didn't have to fight. The ones where the enemy's plans fell apart before they ever touched you. The ones where you didn't even realize you were under attack because the victory was already decided before the battle could reach your doorstep. He moves obstacles out of your way that you never even knew existed. He silences threats that never reach your ears. He surrounds you with a hedge of security that keeps you steady even when the world around you feels unstable. And protection is not just about physical safety. It's about protecting your mind from attacks of despair. It's about guarding your heart from becoming hardened by bitterness. It's about preserving your spirit when the heaviness of life could have crushed it. There are forces that tried to break you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but they didn't succeed. Not because they didn't try, not because you weren't vulnerable, but because grace covered you, because mercy fought for you, because God shielded the parts of you that you couldn't defend on your own. When you really begin to see how often you were protected, gratitude replaces fear. You walk differently because you know you are covered. You dream differently because you trust that even if you step into unknown places, you are not stepping alone. You take risks, you pursue callings, you love deeply, not because you are fearless, but because you know you are protected by a power greater than anything that can come against you. Even when you don't feel it, even when you can't see it, you are surrounded, shielded, and secured by a God who never stops watching over you. Thank you so much. God bless you all.